Good morning, my panelists. So what we will do quickly, I will narrate a small little story because just to give an introduction as to why it matters, access matters. So there is an issue of access and there is a question of availability. If you see the session that the way it is being designed, we are talking about access because access is probably a bigger problem than availability. Because even if we have a lot of funds available, unfortunately it happens that it's not accessible to certain groups because of a host of reasons. So I'll narrate a small story. A couple of months back, as part of our work with Calcutta Innovation Park, and so there are some rural women enterprises that we're working with. So there is this women group in Nadia. This is a district in West Bengal, where her group is actually engaged in constructing toilet blocks and associated the arrangements to be able to install the toilet blocks wherever the government or the local bodies ask them to do, right? So from the business perspective, probably some of you in this room who tend to wear the hat of an investor would be very, probably not be very happy as to what's a big deal here. But this is a huge amount of work and say the kind of work orders it runs into thousands of crores for the state, right? So she got these orders, or this particular group got their orders in 2019, which was worth around almost close to around INR 2 crore, right? So and then she started working on it. So she needed some assistance from the bank. She was told that there is a significant amount of money lying there, so they can access it. Not a problem. So the only issue was that their invoices etc. got to be GST compliant. So come to think of it, so everything was fine. So they have an invoice, they have a work order from the block and from the Gram Panchayat. But unfortunately, they say that it has to be GST compliant. And this poor people, none of them are actually educated in this group. So they couldn't access that fund, though it was lying idle, right? And then what happened? This COVID came, so she was struggling to get arrange funds, etc., etc. In the meanwhile, what happened? Her CIBIL score, which is what is being monitored, and because she is the primary, the member of or the president of the group, her CIBIL score, which is what is being tracked for making loan available to you as an individual or the business, went down significantly. So her money in the bank got blocked by the bank because she couldn't pay the first 3 tranches because it turned into an NPA. Now we met her a couple of months back. Then everything was over. Pretty much her business volume came down from 2 crore in 2019 to 21 crore in 2023. And it's not that she can't take orders. She is so afraid of taking orders because she knows that she will not be able to deliver because she doesn't have access to it. And even the money which she has completed, and in the meanwhile her GST did not get done, right? So so the work that she has completed between 2019 and 2022, which is worth roughly around 1.9 crore, her 10 lakh worth work was not completed. She couldn't submit invoices to the government because it says it has to be GST compliant, right? And her GST did not get done. So there is an issue of awareness also as to how to get her GST done, right? So we got to know about it. We got it done in 3 days. So something which took almost 14 months for her to run from pillar to post and then did not get done because of a host of reasons. I'll just these are anecdotal references. For this group, probably it will just be a story because you probably will not go to even the context is something which is not going to connect. So the group's PAN number, the PAN number that is being issued to a group, typically tends to carry. It's something which is the whims of the local government people who actually issues them the PAN number. They have the group's name included in it. Now the GST guys, they're saying that your name and the son's name, that it's not matching because this damn thing has popped right in the middle of the name. So it has nothing to do with her of doing her business. But she couldn't get access to that. Now, so finally, the bill got submitted very recently. And since the rules have changed in the meanwhile, they said there is an audit required. So the audit has to happen. So for that, another 3 months will go. And then finally the bill will come. So my point is here, this small little story tells you pretty much everything that a small business owner, particularly when it is a woman owner, what kind of challenges do they face? So anybody can help me with maybe a little bit of water? Can I get bottle? Yeah. So here in this group, what we try and understand, we have a very interesting panel here. If you see, so this panel will be able to help us understand and untangle this problem as to what's going on. Why, if we have lots of funds available, why are we not being able to access them? So what is prohibiting us from accessing them? So here, what I will do is so all of you have already met Selima Ahmad. She's a really very interesting personality in this panel, because she brings in, she wears multiple hats. She wears that of a policy maker. She knows what goes in there and what should go in there, and the prioritization and everything. And then subsequently, she also wears the hat of an entrepreneur. Yeah, right. And she is also a woman leader. She also wears the hat of the Chamber of Commerce, which is more of a policy body from the industry perspective. So multiple hats. Then I have Purna. Purna is again Associate Director of Women's Empowerment Group here in Grameen Foundation. Grameen's work, all of you know how they made, this entire work is primarily around access, right? How you make things accessible to rural women. So this is where it is. So we have Purna here. Then I have with me Arihant, who is actually NASSCOM. NASSCOM does a lot of fantastic work so far as NASSCOM, probably one of the chambers in our country who probably the most relevant in terms of making a significant contribution in terms of policy making, etc. And taking one particular industry from where it was in let's say early 90s to where it is today. A few $1 billion of earning for the country. So Arihant will talk about, I'm assuming that he'll probably talk about funds that are specifically available to women so far as technology stuff are concerned, right? Then I have Darshan Shrestha. She's the Vice President of FWEAN. So this is an interesting, again, group that works in terms of promoting the interest of women entrepreneurs. So she will be bringing in that that perspective from her for her country. Then I have Gargi Sen, who's a general manager in one of the microfinance companies based out of Bangladeshi. So she will be able to tell us. She has a significant amount of experience in the credit market. So she will be able to tell us, help us understand as to what works, why it doesn't work, and stuff like that. And then I have Shamiha Yeasin Bintu. So she is again another perspective from Bangladesh. Again a microfinance institute. Microfinance institutes, if you come to think of it, when Grameen started and the evolution of, there are many papers on the impact and the negative side, positive side, both of it. So I think we have a fantastic group here who will be able to help us understand this. So first, I would probably go to Selima Ahmad and request her to speak to the topic that you wear so many hats. You have seen the policy making both sides. You have been a policy maker. Probably people come to you with a lot of requests in terms of what they need in terms of policy. And you also wore the hat of a Chamber of Commerce. You also are a distinguished industry personality. So the three of these together, if you can help us understand now how strengthening access to finance, particularly for women. You spoke about GDP growth, but is there anything else you want to help us understand a little more on that?
Very good afternoon to all of you. Let me just first speak about what we all want to hear, I think. The access to finance for the women. And when I established Women Chamber of Commerce in the year 2001, one of my issues was to see that women entrepreneur goes to bank, not to the microfinance organization. And the reason was that these NGOs, with all respect to them, because of their nature of the collection, the interest rates are very high. Number one. Number two, their limits are also very low. I don't know, maybe 50,000 or 1 lakh, something like that. But if someone wants to have like a 5 lakh or a 10 lakh, then that is missing. So for me, why would I want to see women as just a micro? Why not women as in mainstream women entrepreneur? Why can't women set up an industry? Why can't women have so much money that she could own a helicopter, as she could have a Mercedes Benz? Why not? If an entrepreneur or maid who started maybe with 20,000 or 50,000 capital, now millionaire, why can't a woman can't be? So one of the reasons is that access, which you say. And for men it was easy, then you said, okay, what happened to the men? How they get that access? Mostly properties men have. You know, their father, the parents, okay, take my land, start your business. But for a woman, although that girl or the daughter, she owns the land as an inheritance, but she will not get it. Father will not give it, definitely. Mother will not give more, say, no, it's for my son, it's heritage, it's so, all these things. So my work was to see that access to bank. And what I did is that women entrepreneurs will go to the bank and masquerade bank. And I did a survey and found that no one is getting bank loan. So we went to the central bank and we made a policy that is important. To have a policy where this is the first, I think, in the world where Bangladesh bank has given an allocation of 25 lakh taka. 25 lakh taka, which is about maybe 20 lakhs rupees, without collateral. Because that was important. Because if you say collateral, then even if you give, then you won't get it. So 25 lakhs without collateral and the low rate of interest. And the low rate of interest, even if men gets, it has to be interest. We found that women entrepreneurs are not. Hello. I'm talking so much that the mic says so when women entrepreneurs got the policy, women entrepreneurs are going to the bank, and then the banker was not saying, no, we don't know about it, without collateral, we can't do it. So they were not giving it, because bank always want to be in the safe zone. Why they will take all the trouble to give a woman entrepreneur without collateral? So what we did again in the policy, we went to the central bank, we took the Prime Minister, the Finance Minister, that there has to be a allocation, like any SME loan, 15% must be given to the women entrepreneurs. And if the bank doesn't do, the camel rating, the bank has a rating at the end of the year. So that will be lower. So policies are very important. And then what happened? We found that women entrepreneurs are not having, why you can't get a bank loan? Because she didn't have a trade license. She was taking the microcredit or from her own mother or for her own saving, and no trade license. Without a trade license, how can you get a bank loan? Then where is your money accounting system? Nothing was there. She was using her bag as that is her account. See? So that leisure book, that factory. So how much you have done the business for last 2 years? That picture was not. So we did a capacity building, and we found that when we trained 700 women entrepreneurs, 600 got back to it. But on the other hand, bankers was not also sensitized. So you had to deal with that. So access to finance, if we say that why women entrepreneurs are not getting and why they should get, one thing is the women entrepreneurs should be also capable to take that loan. They should understand that this loan I'm taking and I have to use it in this way. They also have to showcase their businesses, they have to showcase their idea, they have to have a business plan, and then they will be successful. You just can't go to a bank or anywhere. This I always hate, that I am a woman, give me a loan. No, you are a business person. Forget you are a man or a woman, you are a business person. You have an idea, you can show that you can make profit by taking that loan, and you can give back to the loan. And then things are easy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yes. So I think some of the stuff that she spoke about, I'll just kind of quickly summarize that. And I think that the perspective of access. So one is informality. She spoke about it, right? So informality a problem? And she spoke about cost of credit, because cost of credit is very, very significant. So come to think of it, appropriate access to appropriate credit is important. So what I mean by appropriate, she spoke about it. So appropriate is, let's say if you need, say your business generate, let's say 8%, 10%, and if you are expected to 14%, or 20%, you are dead, right? Even before you start. So there, the appropriateness make huge difference, and this is what I think she referred to, the low cost, and then collateral free, because property rights, there are economic theories on that. There are people have been debating, World Bank, IMF, everybody has published paper on that. Access to property rights, because property rights, unfortunately, particularly in developing countries, you'll see that it's little gray because of a host of reasons, and she spoke about it. So I think, fantastic points, and thank you very much. And again, the capacity building point. So, let's say, how to prepare a business plan. So I think, unless you prepare a business plan, probably you will not be entertained. And even if you are entertained, probably and another thing she spoke about is the ticket size. So let's say you get probably 10,000, 20,000, 15,000 without much of an hassle. But that's something which will probably allow you to start a business. It's a small little one. But if you want a growth fund, then you are dead. I think that is what she was referring to, that 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, etc. Which is what is the growth fund. And unfortunately, the systems or the policies are still not there. At least, the one that she referred to, and making it work in Bangladesh, up to 25 lakhs, collateral free loan. That's fantastic. A very, very nice, data on that. So now I'll go to Purna. And I'll ask you to speak to this. I understand. See, from again, I'll take you from her that capacity building. So this is what, let's say, is riskiness of a business is something which is prohibiting bankers to treat them. So your credit assessment tool, is that making life easier for them? And if it is yes, then if you can talk to them.
Thank you so much, Suman, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm not going to get into the challenges that women face, especially when they are running their businesses. I think we've covered many of those points. So let me just take a moment to talk about what Grameen Foundation India does. So we are a 25-year-old organization. Our head office is in Washington, D.C., and we are totally inspired by the work of Nobel laureate Professor Muhammad Yunus. And in India, we work in the domain of agriculture and livelihoods. We work in the space of women's economic empowerment, in inclusive digital finance, and health and nutrition. And in all of these domains, women and women's participation in workforce is the heart of our work, and that's what we do. Well, we primarily work in rural India, but a couple of years back, we landed with a huge project funded by a huge bank, international bank, which wanted to test out a pilot, but which was urban based, which was not our zone, because we are comfortable working in the rural, right? So here we started working to scale women-led businesses, and these are not startups, these are early stage businesses who went into a stagnation. And these, when we talk about early stage businesses, these businesses very well maybe 15 years in operation, but they've not been able to rise. Now when we talk about women and women in the business space, we completely acknowledge the fact that we are looking at a very, very nano and micro level. And there's a huge gap between that micro and nano to the next level, which I don't know what to call that. Is it medium? Is there something in between micro and medium? Because in that space, there are a whole lot of women who are owners of their businesses but don't know which category to fall in. And so that is that catchment area that Grameen wanted to kind of pilot its intervention in. So here we are in Delhi NCR, trying to hunt out for that category of women owners of businesses and work with them. And the project is lovely because it kind of addresses every aspect of the business that is required for it to succeed, for it to scale, for it to grow and for it to be credit worthy. So I'll come to that credit worthiness in a bit. So when we went out scouting for these businesses in Delhi, we were initially in the first 6 months we found none. And that's where we talk about the invisibility of women's work, participation in workforce. But when we started kind of hunting, today after a year of hunting and scouting, we have a database of more than 2,000 businesses in Delhi NCR running their enterprises successfully, but they are nowhere in the statistics. And we have our own selection criteria to onboard them on our program, and so we've been able to kind of onboard 100 of them because we only have to work with 300. That's easy, right? Well, that's not easy. So our program is designed, we established these entrepreneurship support centers in Delhi, 3 of them, north, east and south. And this entire support center is resourced with experts. So we have an entire team of chartered accountants, we have business development managers, we have customer and marketing engagement managers, we have government liaison officers, and we have a gender team that is working with the women-owned businesses. So we have an entire house of experts required for a business to succeed. Now, business does not have a gender to it, does it? But who is running that business, it is extremely important to have that lens in place. Because when we are talking about the business accessing all of that, there are actors and ecosystem players who are delivering services. And these services are necessarily, does not have a gender inclusive lens in it. And that's the struggle. So even when these women who we are capacitating, training, bringing them into a network, all of that we are doing in any case, but when we are working with them to attach to a financial institution, that's where we are getting stuck. Because we know that women do not have collaterals. Women do not have knowledge about how the business is to run. They do not have a business plan. And of course, we can go out there and create the business plan for them, but does it mean empowerment? Today, tomorrow, if she kind of changes her business, will she be equipped to change the business plan as per her new aspiration? So what we did is that in this program, whatever Grameen does, of course, we try to leave a legacy behind for that sector. And we call ourselves entrepreneurships facilitative organizations. And there are many, many such organizations in the market, and we need them. I'll also come to you to tell you why we need organizations who are so-called ESOs, and there's a connect between the women and the service providers. So under this project, we created this unique tool called the CARE Index, Grameen's CARE Index. It is the Credit Appraisal and Review tool. Now, generally, when a bank is giving out loans, they have their own appraisal system, and each bank has its own. So an HDFC will have its own, a small finance bank will have its own credit appraisal system, and they kind of vet it. And I have also heard that some of these banks also kind of are flexible, they kind of use their human lens to even assess the business and the entrepreneur, which I doubt, because I think they are also answerable and accountable to their management. And banks often do not have a lot of women in them, right? So to see it from the women's lens, you need a woman to be sitting at the supply side, which doesn't exist. Now this CARE Index tool is also drawn from the existing tool that these banks use in their own institution. So we have this, person, so, how we have designed is that we have this mandatory things that a bank needs to use to vet the businesses. So these are these KYCs, which is the personal information, the nativity, the ITRs, the PAN, all of that, and how the business has been doing, in terms of its performance, its financial performance, the business performance, customer retention, and all of that aspect. So banks vet this, and we've also vetted it. But we have added 2 more indicators to that tool. One is the skill and competency, and the second is gender and inclusion. Now in skill and competencies, the bank does not see whether a woman who has been in business for 15 years has the skill and the business acumen to run that business or not, because she's doing it for 10, 15 years. But how do we vet whether she has that business acumen or not? So we kind of disaggregated that skill and competencies into digital literacy, financial literacy, her bookkeeping, all of that competencies, whether she is able to use AEPS, whether she is able to use Facebook platforms or WhatsApp groups to communicate and network with people and fellow entrepreneurs. And then we have added the social and gender indicator, where we are talking about her support in the household. We are talking about her decision-making power, her bargaining power with the market actors, and also, whether, what kind of ownership she has to assets that belong to them. And we bring in these lens, and we, with that, we've created a different kind of weightage. Because usually bank will put the highest weightage in the collaterals, in the business performance. But we have distributed that weightage in such a way that we also put equal weightage. Like in our score of 100, 35 is sitting with competency and social and gender indicator, whereas the rest is distributed among the other traditional indicators. Now we created this tool. We went and did a roundtable conference with financial institution, representatives and women themselves. And the beauty was that, they saw the value of it. And today we are able to very proudly say that this particular supplement to the existing credit ranking and assessment is being institutionalized in banks like AU Small Finance Bank. We have gotten the blessing of SIDBI. We are working with many other MFIs in Delhi NCR, and also working with IndusInd and also commercial high-ticket banks as well. So that's the socialization we've done, and hopefully it's going to be taken forward, where women businesses are seen from a very, very inclusive and gender lens.
So when you say that some of these banks, are they adopting your tool as is, or they're kind of integrating with their, so they will look at your score and then probably look at their score? How does it go?
So here is the role of the ESOs that I was talking about, because banks, when they reject, just they throw them out, right? But then who works with the women and the women businesses? How do they correct themselves? So what we do as Grameen is that we actually work with the women so that they know how to improve their scores in each indicator. So we work with them, and many other organizations like us also work with them. So the banks are actually referring these rejections based on this, where they are failing, where they need to improve, back to us. We work with them on those aspects, and we send them back to the bank.
Okay. So that's a significant capacity development effort.
Yes.
Okay. Great, thank you. So now we'll come to Arihant, NASSCOM. So NASSCOM is an interesting body. So one, of course, is the kind of schemes, the kind of access that you have. But I would probably try also and understand from you, NASSCOM being a champion of IT industry. Have you made any effort to make your, the access seamless? From anywhere across the world, can they access it? Is it seamless, or have you thought about it? So if you can also talk about, other than the schemes that you have in mind, you can also talk about how accessing a fund from, or any fund from NASSCOM, is it in a scale of accessibility or ease of access? Is it 10 out of 10, or what is it? So if you can help us.
Yeah. So first of all, we don't fund startups, but we help them with investor connects. So that is the one part of it. And to answer your question, yes, we have made seamless effort to to entrepreneurs in general, and of course including women entrepreneurs. And so I'll take a step backwards in terms of what I found many entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, had in common. So some steps that needs to be taken care of. So first is the team foremost, in terms of whether you're having a co-founder or not a co-founder, but how you're building your team. Then the traction, in terms of how you are growing as a business month on month, year on year. Then there's the testimonial, how are your customers reviewing your business, and then how you are using technology. After COVID, it's a no-brainer in terms of using technology either to scale or enable or to create that unique differentiator using AI and whatever. So yes, these are the 3 or 4 T's that needs to be taken care of, and with it comes the purpose of culture, the community that you come from, and the character that you build. So yes, so if these are taken care of, like many things are sorted, and you certainly shine, and you certainly do well, whether you're bootstrapped, whether you're funded, whether you're taking money from your customers. So yes, we in our tenure of this NASSCOM 10,000 startups, we've been running for the last 10 years. We work very closely with bodies like STPI and other stakeholders, other governments, other industry, and we've seen a lot of women entrepreneurs succeed in the various challenges they have, various schemes they grow. But we don't fund startups per se directly, but this is what we've done. So these are the points that you need to take care of in terms of funding. Like I would again say that there are 4 categories which in female terms I would say degi, as in will give. One is the debt in terms of what the bank funds, the grants, the loans which you have to pay for your interest. And of course, if you come across a web scraper with ChatGPT and Bard, it's now very easy to get information. But yes, the hard part remains due diligence. We have connected, and we have a wide network of people who are willing to help. And of course, you will hear more in the coming 2 days how this will also be easy. Then there are equity funds like She Capital, Strong Her Ventures, so that you can avail of. Then there are grants, not many that we have seen from the women focused in terms of just grants, but I found capital had some traction in India a year or so back, so that is one. And then there are innovation enablers like incubators and accelerators that help the startups give seed money, connect with them or directly, and make it to higher accelerators and take it to the global level.
Great. So come to think of it in funding, in actually this strategic management, there is a concept or a theory on awareness, motivation, and capability. So of course, I think each one of them spoke about the awareness part, the capability building part, the motivation. I think was we both of them narrated their experience of women sticking to very small little loans. So I just wanted to understand from NASSCOM being a IT enabled kind of an environment. So are you doing anything to make people aware of things that are available? So you refer to many, let's say, the access to debt, access to capital, access to grant. So is there anywhere, whether it is NASSCOM or anywhere in any other organization that hosts just a inventory of things that are available across the country for various people? Is that possible? Or is that available?
So see, the inventory keeps on building, the inventory keeps on changing based on scheme to scheme, based on year to year, based on the time and the objectives of the government. I was just now 5 minutes ago I was talking to Preetha. She was also mentioning on some schemes for women that she's consolidated at a place. So I would request the entrepreneurs to have a look at that. So yes, many attempts have been made, and what we've done in the past is no more relevant in the future, and it keeps on upbuilding and keeps on thinking. So we take help from various state governments we work with, from various industry partners, and from various other lobbying associations, other association accounting bodies like the chartered accountants and the cost accountants, and then keep them aware of the latest.
Okay. Thank you, Arihant. Now I'll go to Darsana. So in terms of making credit available to women, women enterprises. So if you can narrate your experience, so what have you done differently, you know, and has that made an impact?
Thank you. So, first of all, I would like to highlight some of the challenges that women faced in Nepal. So it is no different than what Selima and other speakers said. You know, there are lots of challenges. But having said that, in Nepal, the most difficult part to get the funds is like due to the geographical structure. And there is a huge, gap between the rural and urban areas. So having said that, you have almost 79% of the population live in rural area. So if you have to go to develop your economic activities, you have to reach those group of people. And government, they have come up with different economic financial strategies to reach out those group of people. So, and the government has ordered or directed the banks to go to those specific areas. Yes, we have 753 local bodies, and banks have reached to 752 areas. And that doesn't make sense still because the area is so difficult to reach to other corners part of that area. So the data shows that out of 1,000 people, only 251 have the access to bank. So financial service providers are not going to specific areas. So that lacks, the women cannot get access to finances from the banks. So another thing is women, as our previous speaker said, they don't have specific knowledge in financial services on how to get, even they are formalized, they can't get the services from the bank as well. And they depend on informal money lenders with high interest. So another thing is like the infrastructure is not very good in context of Nepal. They don't have proper portal, your internet services. Even if they use smartphones, they can't use properly. They have to rely on their sons or daughters or husband to use that smartphone to text or write. That is what we have experienced. Even if you want to, during the COVID days, if you want to meet them through Zoom or other digital ways, then they have to rely on their children and children. So these are the challenges. They lack the knowledge, digital knowledge, and they lack this financial knowledge, but still they are doing business. But like they said, they are where they are doing small businesses. So we want them to improve their businesses. So after the COVID, we realized there is a great, need of technology, which is, which is in your hand, in everyone's hand. So you can use that to grow your business. So then we started Business Development Center at FWEAN. Business Development Center is a center which provides holistic, it works in a holistic approach and gives overall services, business services to women entrepreneurs, to existing women entrepreneurs and to potential women entrepreneurs. So it gives all the trainings, like other speakers said, you give trainings, awareness, whatever needed, linkage to the banks. So it didn't work in accessing the funds, even though we linked them through BDC to financial institutions, their, getting the funds didn't increase. So we found that it is because of the documentation, the proper paper, they have to present to the banks. Then we realized that, okay, we will focus on access to market and access to finance through BDC. So that two parts are the signature platforms we have developed at FWEAN. So then what we did was we developed BDC app, an app that helps every individual to register and do the keep all the transactions of their business. They can keep every day's transaction. It's made very simple by consulting with the financial institutions and also to women entrepreneurs to meet their needs to keep their bookkeeping of every day. And it is so easy that within a single click, they can come up with a report that bank looks for. So they can now give that paper, that report to bank to get the loan on the base of their cash flow management. So now we have started to train every individual, every women entrepreneurs on using that app. So now they have started doing it. So after that, they needed what? Market. So we also have e-portal for women entrepreneurs, that is winbiz.com. We have started that, and we have started to handhold them because they don't know how to put their products there and do all the things marketing through the e-portal. So we handholded them, and they are started to keep the products there. Now the time comes to have payments, to do the payment. So we link to a simple form of financial institution. So we have eSeva, where you can just register there and pay from eSeva. We have partnered with eSeva, and they have started to pay from eSeva. So that's how now we are trying to make them ready to go to bigger e-marketplaces. So that is the start for them, and that's how we have started to work with women for finances to get from the banks, and as well as get market, and they are able to sell through e-market. Earlier, they were not able to do that. They had really difficult time to get payments, even if they pay. So now they are using e-wallets, like things from and they have this smartphone in their hands. So they are really doing good on that part.
Okay. So basically, you're leveraging mobile technology significantly to kind of develop layers of services, and you're hoping that with the access of credit, access of market, these are being integrated. Hopefully, over a period of time, the cost of credit will go down, and then probably will have greater access to funds, etc. Okay. Thank you. So I'll go to Gargi. So Gargi, we keep hearing about this, local money lenders. So they are very significant. So here, access is not essentially on social issues or capabilities. So there is an interesting angle too, which is the geographic reach. So now, so this is something which is insurmountable in some of the cases. You probably will not be able to reach there just because of geographical constraints. But that doesn't necessarily mean, or essentially mean, that there is no business activity happening there. So there must be some elements who are kind of anchored there. So like, let's say these money lenders. So in your experience, because you are in this domain for a long time, and debt finance has been around in a couple of these states. So have you ever, or as part of your work, have you tried leveraging that, or are you aware of anything where these people are being brought into the formal financial schemes, etc.? Or is that, so do you want to speak to that topic?
Yeah, sure. Good afternoon. So my microfinance journey started for 6 years, and I have a very close connect with Bangladesh because earlier I was with ASA International. So very much inspired to that organization. So microfinance journey for me is close to 1 year. So basically, my experience for microfinance domain is more or less same for ASA International. ASA International said with vector finance is okay. To answer your question, money lenders, what is difference between money lenders and this microfinance industry? So as you know, money lenders, we all know there is a huge amount of interest. And to taking a cue from Mrs. Ahmed's question, so I was just noting it down. So we microfinance industry also charge not very high amount of interest, but it is basically considerably high from the banks. So why? So that is to answer your first question, I would like to say, first of all, there is no collateral security for the women entrepreneurs. I would not say entrepreneurs. I'll come to that in my next thing. So we bear a very high cost of funds, because we have to, we are also lending money from different banks, from financial institutions, and taking financial credit also, that is also a whole lot of experience. So we need to be restrict ourselves in RBI stipulated guidelines. And as far as the interest part is concerned, so we cannot charge usurious interest rates for our this women entrepreneurs. That there is also RBI stipulated guidelines. There is also some self-regulatory organizations. They are closely vigilant on us. So that is the main thing. So interest we cannot charge usuriously. And this, as Ms. Ahmed says, there is a very low amount of credit we are giving to our customers, but there are this CIBIL category and this Equifax category that has to be taken into account, because we cannot overburden our customers, because we have to see the capacity. So how much she can bear. We cannot drag them into a debt trap, basically. So that is why there the CIBIL category is required. We cannot, if a customer is eligible for 50,000, we cannot give him drastically 2 lakhs, because we have to assess that she will use this amount in income generating activities. So that is the betterment of life. That is the financial literacy we are giving. So not only this monetary part, we are also giving them a holistic approach towards their health and hygiene. We also give them insurance kind of thing. Insurance, we all know. Insurance, I'm not much going to differ into that. But there is a woman-centric insurance kind of thing. So what woman-centric is? In the rural areas, we have seen there are many diseases they are not much aware of. So this is the awareness program we are generating. So this is not only lending money. So this is also a holistic program towards their better living, towards their well-being kind of thing. So, and we also just encourage the female employees in our field level staffs. Why so? Because the female level staff, they can closely connect with the women entrepreneurs, so with the women borrowers. Because more so this, rather than the male staff, the women staff can better connect with these women entrepreneurs. So that is our motto basically. We holistically look at this health and hygiene, towards the financial literacy, towards the sanitation part. We have a different wing also. So there, we are encouraging women about this toilets and fresh water. So all this holistic approach, that is what Vector Finance is doing. And as regards my organization is concerned, we have started in 2019, very baby steps. And 2 years gone into COVID, as you know, all you know. So almost like 3 years, we are reaching to a very 500 crore plus company. So, and we are serving around 3.5 lakhs women. 6 states we are serving, and next year we are targeting to another 3 states, like we are foraying. So our approach is basically concentrated into that. We are not diversifying into many aspects, but we think by doing so, we can be reaching to another level.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what we are hearing is, let's say from the microfinance perspective. So it is making small little credits accessible to many people. But what happens to growth funds? So let's say, is there anything that, let's say, the kind of funds that you are referring to, or for that matter, all of you referred to. So obviously, if they are paying I'm assuming 35-40% in terms of an interest. So that means that the business that they are doing, so they are in a position to be able to generate that kind of cash flow to be able to pay back, right? So that would essentially mean, in my mind, is that their profitability is something which probably is kind of compromised. So if you don't have, if the financial mechanism doesn't encourage or promote higher profitability, so then the growth probably is, and maybe that is where they're stuck into that small little, that kind of dwarfism, that they're unable to grow because the cost of capital is so high that whatever profit they're able to generate is kind of actually going there. So is there anything happening in the microfinance industry or anywhere else that you are aware, which probably is also trying to address that part? Because higher profitability will probably only, if the women are working very hard and they're able to generate, let's say, 5% for themselves, what is the merit of them working even harder to be able to generate the same percentage of return? So that's the dichotomy. So is that Is that something which you are aware of, or is there anything that you are trying to do? So maybe this question to both you and Purna. So, Purna, if you have anything to speak to the topic.
So firstly, I would like to just cut your point. It is not 35 to 40%. It is RBI stipulated guideline, as I had mentioned. It is closely 20%. So, and as there is no collateral security, so as I said, high cost of funds are there, so has to be there. And there is only these loans are being provided only basis on our Aadhaar card or a voter card. Only one identity is there. And as I said, if there, we see if any woman is in distress, so there is, we restructure the loan. There is the, I can say there is the restructuring of loan. During the time of COVID, we have done this because restructuring of loans means inter alia, it means it is restructuring of the infrastructure. So there we have come down to 15 to 18%. So that is what. So from bank it is not much difference. So 35 or 40%, it is just a rumor. That is just to saying this microfinance is what this microfinance industry is doing. They are parallel to money lenders, but that is not the actual fact. We are doing it very much in the RBI stipulated guideline, 20%, and in some organizations they are doing also to 15% to 18%. So I think that is very much reachable for the customers also. And there lies the financial literacy, how they can taking the loans and that they can utilize it in income generating activities. So parallelly by giving the loans, and we also income generating activities, we also literate them. So that is my answer.
Okay. Yeah.
If I may respond to that, I think the fact that microfinance only gives a small ticket loan, right, to the average about 20,000.
Right.
Now, for an MFI to be in the business, they have to charge that high loan. Otherwise, for a 20,000 ticket size, what are they getting in return? Because they have a huge overhead cost. So I also beg to differ there, because it's not always that all MFIs charge 20%. We have experience where MFIs have charged with their own internal regulation 28 to 30% as well. Despite the idea 24%, but yeah, again, I don't know what the calculation beyond that. But one has to be mindful about the fact that as a business grows, it has to wean out of that microfinance space, right? Because today women in businesses need 20,000 is nothing.
Yes.
So we need more money, and when we are actually escalating beyond that microfinance loan capacity, the interest is coming down. So when you're transitioning from MFI to a proper commercial bank, that the interest rate will automatically come down. But the business needs to have the capacity and the wherewithal to take on that loan. So it's exactly what you said, that nobody wants a business or a woman entrepreneur to get into a debt cycle. Look at what happened to Sri Lankan economy. It just went into an absolute spiral down. So we do not want that to happen in any economy for that matter, because once you get into the debt cycle, you cannot come out of it. So the role here, for many organizations and facilitative organizations is to make the businesses absolutely aware and capacitated and informed to know what the business in terms of its capacity is, whether it will be able to take a loan size of 1 lakh, 1 crore for that matter, and then how do you kind of play around with that.
Thank you. Thank you. So now I come to Shamiha. If you can share your experience of working in the space of microfinance in Bangladesh. So, what do you use technology, or has that helped you to kind of reduce the cost of credit? Because if you can narrate your experience working.
I will totally agree with you and go with the point. I have my field findings. First of all, there is an entrepreneurship mind-setting problem in women. They can't set their mind that they can do a business. And secondly, it's a male-centric country, and their statement is all, they depend on their male partner decision in
on
everything.
financial decisions, yeah.
In everything. And they have no digital literacy, no mobile phone on their hand. And secondly, there are many other problems, such as they can't take decisions from their side, from their family. And There are some other barriers. First of them is a network problem in rural areas, and second of all, NID smart NID coverage in rural areas. So if they need any financial account opening, they need their smart ID card to open. But all the rural areas in Bangladesh does not cover the NIDs.
So I'll probably stop you there. So I would request, let's say, one is we understand the nano micro side of it and the challenges of it. So do you have, as an institute, do you have anything in terms of a scheme or product which addresses the need of, let's say, in this room we have entrepreneurs who probably want a loan, which is not obviously 50,000, 20,000, but much more than that. So do you have, or as an institute, do you have any product like that?
Even all our beneficiaries are women. In TMSS, all our beneficiaries are women. We only give loan and take loan with deal with women.
But the ticket size is essentially small, or
no, not a larger scale. It's more than 1 lakh. Even.
So you have multiple levels, or is there any? So do you have a graduation path for women, so that they start with a small loan, then they kind of
progressing on their business, they can take more loans.
Okay, then you spoke about, because you were out of all of us in this group, you wear the hat of a policy maker, and also on the other side of the table where people probably are negotiating in terms of what kind of policies make sense. And we have been told by the existing economic system that institutions are very important. Institutions make all the differences. The developing countries or the developed countries are developed because of institutions that they have built. Now, can you help us understand, let's say with your experience, so this, making this collateral-free loan of 25 lakhs, making it accessible, etc. Obviously, there are some institutional mechanisms that you would have worked on. So, can you please help us understand that mechanism, what worked, why it worked, and things like that? Not microfinance. Making these large, let's say this 25 lakh loan that you are referring to, 25 lakh Taha loan to women entrepreneurs without collateral. So obviously there are some institutional, interventions there. So if you can narrate that part.
Yeah. Let me just say, microfinance, head of microfinance organization, mostly, I'm not talking about everyone, have a big jeep, big car. I, as a president, don't have that, because I do volunteer works. So there is lots of difference between the microfinance organization head and between the Chamber of Commerce head, because we do volunteer works. We are here not to make money. We are here to see that women entrepreneurs grow. We have our own businesses to make money here. And I always say, I'm repeating here, I do it in Bangladesh, I do it here also, that microfinance organization should charge more. I know their costs are higher, their collection is difficult, but even though, if you look at every microfinance organization, how much asset, how much money they have, look and check how they have made it. They have done by using this village women micro entrepreneurs.
Right.
Okay. Now, when we see that women entrepreneurs need to have a greater bank loan, that capacity building, as I said. So here comes the role of Chamber of Commerce and government also to educate and to do skill development. So in Bangladesh, there are Ministry of Women Affairs, Ministry of Youth, and us also, like we are having a project of 5,000 women who have never been an entrepreneur, but we are building their capacity on mobile repair and servicing. We are building their capacity on bakery and confectionery, and we are also in the beautification, this beauty parlor, all these things. So it's not only the capacity building. One problem is that the government, ministries, what they do, they give skill training, all right? Earlier days, they used to, I always say that they are actually hampering these women. Because they used to train them making a doll made out of clothes, which no one will buy it. And she is in love with that product. I remember 20 years back, I used to go, and they were showing me all sort of jute products, made of cloth, made of all these things. And she's so proud that she made it. And I knew that nothing is going to be sold. So why do you give this sort of training? This is such a frustration for that woman who doesn't know, she's a village woman. She learned about it and she's so fond of it. She's proud of themselves, but when she is in the market, she is unable to sell. The frustration not only to her end, that humility by her family. Oh, you have gone and paid training and now you see
Nothing is working.
Nothing is working. So that capacity building on the modern way, according to the market, is important, which we do. And also, okay, now you are skilled. You know this is the product on the market. But your accounting you don't. That entrepreneurship skill. What is entrepreneur? A small definition, entrepreneurship is an idea and to look for a profit. And you take risk, right? But when you take the risk, what is your marketing plan? What is your costing plan? Do you know who are your competitors? Do you know the USP of your product? Do you know what benefits you are bringing? The same bag someone is making and you are making another bag. But what benefits it will bring from your bag, from the other bag? Huh? And then who are your competitors? The costing, the profit. So these are important. So when we teach all these things, then we found that this entrepreneur is good. So for the women entrepreneur, skill development according to the market is important. And then knowing the entrepreneurship, all sorts of skills. Knowing your marketing, knowing your business plan, knowing your accounting, the cost, the profit. So the cost, then your profit, right?
Yes.
So that income statement, that profit and loss.
Yes.
So basic thing is important. And when you do it and then you do it. I fully agree that microfinance organizations are helping women for empowerment. But they are not allowing them to grow. Maybe because of their own. So let them do their own thing. But let us hear, we the women who ultimately believes in women empowerment, that equality thing. Many microfinance organization has given a loan. I have seen that woman is making the thing, husband is selling, and then money is with the husband. I remember I said, please put a name in your house, like Selima's handicrafts. Write it there. Then you own it.
So it's a question of identity also.
Absolutely. These are important, not by just taking 20%, 25% credit, interest rate, not only that. That is my request to the microfinance organization. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think one interesting part that she referred to is the we see that particularly these micro businesses or small businesses we see that there is a tendency of supply side thinking. Supply side in the sense I can do this. So this is a producer mentality, right? You don't care whether the market is there a taker in the market or not. So but what she is referring to is it market driven or it is supply driven. So you can do it, so you are taking it to market and then getting frustrated that nothing is working. But yes, obviously there is a lot of capacity that you would need to be able to assess what is the market. Probably you need, may not essentially a market research that, but you need some sense of what the market need and all that. So I think that was interesting, and of course the cost of capital. I'm tempted to agree with her that the microfinance institutes and these institutes, they are probably making access to small loans to many of these entrepreneurs, but they are unfortunately unable to provide the the growth funds that they need. So let's say in this room we probably have 30-35 odd entrepreneurs who probably need a growth fund, and this is where I think the system as of now, the institutions are probably not really geared to address that in terms of seamlessness and stuff like that. So I have few questions, but in the interest of time, I think probably for 5 minutes, I will open this floor if you have any questions for the panel here.
Given that Bangladesh is riddled with microfinance, I have academically worked there for research and teaching, lived there in Bangladesh for more than a year. So I have some idea about how microfinance institutions work in Bangladesh, and as you said, the assets that have been gathered by those institutions. What role has the government taken in ensuring that the government banks, the central government-owned banks, make finance easy for the micro-entrepreneur, the market that is tapped by the MFIs? So what special role has government taken in Bangladesh?
See, we have in the industrial policy, earlier it was SME policies. Now it's MSME policies. So it is addressing the micro also. So even now that facilities are counting that we need to address the micro entrepreneurs also, so if they want to come and go. For banks, everywhere there is a women's dedicated desk. Each commercial bank, any branches, there has to be a women dedicated desk. Whether it is addressed by a man or woman, that is not the thing. And we make sure our organization that everyone has that one where there is a gender-friendly environment. Because one of the things also going to the microfinance organization for women is having a gender-friendly environment. In the bank, in the commercial bank, that was also sometimes, mostly actually it was missing. That having the gender. So we found many women, especially the young women entrepreneurs, to come and tell me that Appa, we are going there. That man is asking us to go again, and sitting us just having that woman sitting in front of him. So these are the also sensitization we have to take care of that. So that and the government, I think, also having a watchdog to see that microfinance organization doesn't take so much money so that women entrepreneurs are they ultimately don't sustain. Because there are cases with respect to Grameen and all these things that women also committed suicide, not giving their installments. And one of the things is also very sad is that I'm an entrepreneur, I took money and I couldn't succeed. So I took money from this microfinance. And then I took from that. From here I gave here. From here I gave. And suddenly then lastly I couldn't make it manage it. And then I'm in a big trouble, and then that humiliation, ultimately suicidal case, that also happened. So both are important in our lifestyle, but I think microfinance organization is learning now that we are talking about that interest rate, that capacity building. Earlier they used to give just for sale, but now I think they are also taking care of the capacity building of these things. I don't work with the microfinance and the micro entrepreneurs because that's my personal issues I have. So I don't want to influence that one. I want to see women into the mainstream. I want to see women as a human being. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone. Following Selima Madam's words, when we plan to scale, when the requirement is not in thousands, even 1.5 lakh is minuscule, peanut for us. We want, say 50 lakhs, crores. We need to make a business plan. Yes. And there, I am a technocrat, I'm into software, I'm an engineer. And this is not taught in our college, that how to focus sales, how to focus income, how to focus, how to do the pricing, you see, and also how to find competitors and what the competitors are doing.
I know there are advisors and consultants for them, but their charge is forbidding when somebody is trying to scale up. See, I'm in bootstrap and I want finance. I have, in a bootstrap model, I have come to one point and now I want a jump. But I don't have that very extra money to give something exorbitant to a consultant and things like that. Is there any organization who is helping, I don't say for free, but well, in a small
Yes.
percentage?
So yes,
Thank you.
probably, and I will answer that question. Because this is something which is what the incubators are expected to do. Incubators and accelerators.
But we don't
So,
get
but incubators, unfortunately, what is happening? There are private incubators. There are institutional incubators.
So
But-
connect with us one-to-one. I'll personally look into this.
So this.
Thank you.
Absolutely.